You just mentioned, just as in your example, business margins. And that got me thinking, you've got experience in many, many industries, and you also have deep experience in this online industry, a lot of, knowledge-based businesses. I think there's a bit of a messy middle where people grow to a certain size with a very small team, maybe a solopreneur or a very, very small team or a few contractors. They've built up an offer, they've built up an audience, they're doing great, they're making money, and they've hit their ceiling of complexity. They need help. And then they start adding help, and now their margins are dropping, and maybe they're actually bottom line is less than it was, and there's a middle to move through. And we can estimate, what those actually, I just like to hear you talk a little bit about that and how to move through that messy middle, and even what you think might be the dollar ranges of that middle.
I think the dollar range of that messy middle for information marketing specifically is kind of between $1 million and $2.5 million, something like that. It's like under $1 million, or right at about $1 million. Maybe you could even stretch it a little, depending how many products you have in, to get to the million. If you have fewer products, let's say you get to $1.2 million or something, you don't need that many people to sell it and deliver it. And at that point, the business is making good margins, good money, etc. But as an entrepreneur, you still want to grow. And now for getting to $1 million, let's say $1.2 million, now you're going to need to do something quite different to double that, let's say, right? To get to around 2.5. Now you've got to double it. That typically needs extra products. It typically needs maybe expanding your market. It might need you to test and try a lot of new things. And when you're trying to grow and you need to grow in a lot of new ways, it's like having two businesses at once. One is going pretty well and one is a startup. That's a little bit how I think of it. So, when I think about your business, Jeff, it's like, you started with the information product and then you were adding the mastermind. It's an amazing business. It's one of the simpler ones. But let's say, right now you've got a product, your information product, and you've got a great mastermind, and you're only at like $1.8 million or something. And it's still, now you've got double the team and not double the revenue. And we need to get you double the revenue. The thing that has changed from my point of view in the time that I've been involved with clients that are in information marketing is a couple things. One, I find that there's a little bit more of a natural ceiling on some products. It used to be that you could, work with helping people make money online, and you could have an information product that did a $1 million launch or a $5 million launch. It's actually pretty hard now to find products that can do a $5 million. It's not every product that can do a $5 million launch. And so with having some natural ceilings, because there's a lot more competition, people have a lot more to choose from these days, then you've got to be really, really good at what you do to be able to really, get that margin, to be able to get that revenue way up. And the tricky part is you need to maximize the amount of revenue each product does, because the quickest way to kill yourself is to have lots of different products or services that each do $500,000, let's say. It's a killer, because you can think of it as that, an information marketing business and a mastermind, they're two very different businesses. Yes, they're under one umbrella. Yes, they're under one brand. Yes, they cross over on some things, but in general, they're very different. And so we need each of those businesses to be healthy. And so really, for clients, I'm often helping them look at their products and let's see how we can get a lot more revenue from what they have, as opposed to adding a whole new thing to generate the next $1 million.
Yeah, I think of the longevity I've had in this business, and I think I've been good at keeping things really, really simple.
Yes, you have. The simpler you can keep it, the better a business you will have. Complexity is hard. And at the same time, I have a lot of compassion for everybody in this business, because it is, there comes a point where it actually is pretty hard to keep growing at a 30% clip or whatever you're growing at. It gets hard.
It's easier to get to 1 million than to 10 million, which, I guess people at home might be thinking, well, duh. But I guarantee you, once you get to 1 million, you now have a mindset where you're like, well, hell yeah, I can do it. It's just another zero.
Right, right. That's when you have to start thinking about things like market size.
Right. I'm marketing systems, which are the lead system that, some of them have a natural ceiling to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing that I think has changed, I knew this was coming. I think it took a little longer than I thought, actually. All the social media platforms and Google too, they have learned how to maximize their revenue at information marketers' expense. So it's, advertising, I know it goes up and down, but in general, advertising costs have gone steadily up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hallmark features of this industry, and I mean, I think it's an unbelievable industry. I love it. I've been in it we're coming up on 30 years. It's ridiculous, Annie. I mean, 2 years will be 30 years. Next year's going to be the 20-year anniversary of product launch formula. It's just ridiculous that I've gotten to, have the income I have the lifestyle I have the team I have the clients I have. It's just ridiculous. It's a dream. And I think one of the hallmark features of this industry, or characteristic, let's put it that way, one of the hallmark characteristics of this industry is that marketing is very, very expensive and production is very inexpensive in general. If you look at a lot of industries, if you have the auto industry, it costs you an incredible fortune to make that car. And yes, they've got marketing costs, but it's not at the level, percentage level as this industry. Or you have a power company, it costs a lot to build a power plant, but you don't have to work very hard to sell that power. But in this industry, we've got great margins in general compared to a lot of industries, but still the cost to market, whether you're paying to advertise, whether you're paying affiliates, whether you're paying to create content, either with dollars or with your time to attract people, it's expensive. That's our biggest cost is marketing. And production is relatively less. That'll be your team as you grow. And if you have too many products, then your cost, goes up in production. But in general, you're spending your money on marketing. You also happen to probably be marketing against some really good marketers, so you got to be good at it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's super interesting industry that way. And, and one of the things about that is to really kind of keep in mind that having a product that needs a ton of delivery, I'll just call it, if you have to handhold every single member of your digital product or whatnot, that's not going to work out. You've got to be able to spend that money on marketing and have the delivery be less expensive.
Hey, Launch family, I hope you liked that clip. If you haven't checked this out yet, go to getyoulaunch.com. We have some absolutely free, awesome training on launches that you can get. And we also have some really amazing upcoming episodes with really cool guests that I would hate for you to miss. So make sure you hit that subscribe. It helps grow the channel. And the more subscribers, the bigger the guests we can get. So we're in this together. Thanks a lot for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode.